It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Street, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Awesome news show. Lots of stuff going on here in the real estate world, and we'll talk about it today. Same thing we do every week, last 14 plus years here on the station, but lots of great stuff going on. We'll talk about the micro market numbers in from last month. They're very, very interesting. For example, Myrtle Beach, the city limits dropped like 24% last month in terms of sales. Some areas are up, some areas are down. So we'll dig in and talk about what's happening in their big news. Interest rates, they went down to a 1 year low, and they bumped back up again late this week. So we'll talk about what's happening with that. But we'll also dig into what the percentages are. And we're looking at a significant drop in interest rates, potentially coming in the September Fed meeting. We'll talk about that. Look at the exact data that calculates that real time. Lots of stuff going on there overall. Also, we had it in last week's show, just didn't get a chance to get to some national data showing new home sales plunging a little bit as the market's slowing down. But I do think we're going to see a bounce back, as we're already seeing buyers jump back in as rates have gone back down. We are seeing inventory climbing a little bit, especially for condos. We'll talk about what's going on overall with that. Also, we'll talk about what home inspectors look for when they're doing a home inspection on your property, specifically what areas that they pay the most attention to. Also, the specific areas that you can get the most highest ROI. What I've found, a lot of homeowners will tend to do improvements that don't bring even a 1-to-1 ROI. So we'll talk about that, dig into that for everyone. Some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it through the summer market with lots and lots of changes going on. In addition to that, our fund bought another property this week, just cash, as is, simple off market, where they did not have to go on the market, deal with any showings. They wanted to be somewhere by a certain timeline. And we were flexible with them, and that way they could buy the house they wanted in a different state, close the exact day, exact time they wanted. And that's what we agreed to do. So we'll talk about all that on today's show. Lots of great stuff. If you want to come back and listen to these shows, we do stream them on YouTube. Just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. You can go to Facebook under Sloan Realty Group, Facebook, look up Blake Sloan. And they're also on your favorite podcast platform like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that. Just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I like it. Yeah.
He has been personally endorsed. All of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark strategies you have to help both buyers and sellers here. Now, recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. For sure, it's something that I made a promise a long time ago to talk about. I know anyone's listened for a long time hears me talk about this, and the deal I made with myself was that, look, once I stop getting this problem in the office every single week, I'll stop doing it. But I still have it every single week. We see the same problems over and over and over, and it's detrimental because for most people, it's their largest asset. They don't realize that the agent you choose matters more than anything else. And here's the number one mistake that everyone makes is they think that all agents are the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. Just like a doctor, just like a lawyer. And the main difference here and what really creates that is you're dealing with two major factors here. Number one, it's a service-based business. We all know service-based businesses are based on people. So it comes down to the human you work with and how that human actually executes from A to Z. The problem is in real estate, the second part, it's a very long sales cycle, meaning it's a long time from A to Z when you're selling a property, months in many cases, right? And also a long time when you're buying a property, sometimes months and years that we've seen people to do so. And so, for example, when you're selling a property, there's 118 variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, puts money in your pocket. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka they drop the ball at any point, guess what? That costs you your hard-earned equity. You lose money. In many cases, see people $20, $30, $40, $50,000. And so the reality is any consumers that we deal with, I'm pushing, I would bet 100% almost. Like it's like 99%. They all ask the wrong questions. They tend to not really understand the difference. They just ask, what do you charge? Right? What's my house worth? Those are the two questions that I've ever got. I've never really gotten that many other ones. Like, hey, what do you do differently? What's your marketing budget? What type of marketing do you do? How do you make my property look different than anyone else's? Like, all those are the real questions you want to ask. What do you have in place to handle all the processes of the entire home sale, right? Those are what the questions we want people to ask. So I share it every single week because here's the deal. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes into one thing only, and that thing is the agent that you choose, period. Right? Not the wall color, not the grass quality, not the time of year you sell. It comes down to the agent that you choose, because here's the deal. Most agents, they just do the 3 Ps. Number one, they promise you the world to get the listing. Number two, they put it into MLS. And 3, they pray that someone else brings a buyer, AKA another agent from the MLS. And then they're happy down the street getting, that commission. They're searching for the next one, because most agents are just trying to survive. The average agent in our marketplace sells less than 4 homes per year. There's not any money to really eat and pay bills with, much less have any significant budget for marketing to get your property marketed like it should have. And so when I got in the business, like, look, there's got to be a better way. And I looked at what people did outside of business. Always been a student of business. I was fascinated with business until I was a kid. I had like lemonade stands, had Kool-Aid stands. I had recycling business, lawn business, all these things since I was younger. And so I was always fascinated with business. And I reached out to these coaches and mentors in other industries and said, how do we build what we have in real businesses, brick and mortar businesses, into real estate? And this is exactly what we did. I created this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System. It's the only proven system that sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. You stack it up against what any other agent does, it blows the consumer's mind. And obviously the results do speak for themselves. That's what got us featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Fox News, all of those things. It's what has us the number 1 real estate team in Myrtle Beach, I think number 58 in North America. And that includes all the major markets. And we're right here in Little Myrtle Beach competing with them because of how we have these things in place. And it's designed for one single thing, right? It's not for us to sell the most houses. It's how do we give our client the ultimate competitive advantage when they sell their house, AKA sell it faster and for more money. What we do is we stack those dominoes up in the right area. And so if I create a small gap at point 1, a small gap at point 2, a small gap at point 3, and you stack those over 118 different variables, that creates a massive gap between us and everyone else, AKA it differentiates you from your neighbor, which is how your property sells faster and more money. It works very, very, very well. I designed it. It's exclusive to us here, obviously, because I designed it. We do license to other agents, other parts of the country, but it works very, very well. And you owe it to yourself to at least look at it. If you thought about selling or thinking about it, you want to see the comparison, because we really come from a place of just education. Like, look, here's how the industry works. Here's what your pitfalls are. Here's how you probably should best handle it. And here's how we have a system that handles those issues. And it works very, very well. We back it up with 2 major things. Number one is a team of people, 35 plus people on our team. We have what we call specialists. Each person on our team specializes in what they do, versus where most agent, how it was when I started the business, we were all just generalists, meaning that we tried to master everything, but we didn't master anything because we were so busy juggling all the balls. We weren't able to execute at the highest level for our client. And so with us, we have inside sales, outside sales, listing specialists, buyer specialists. We have in-house photography, videography, in-house graphic designer, all the stuff so we can make sure that we can execute the highest level with speed and precision for our clients. For buyers out there, it's a very difficult marketplace right now with interest rates all over the place, right? Inventory has crept up a little bit, but it's still very limited for single families. And so the reality is you want somebody who's good, who has a system in place. We have this thing called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gives you priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you that close table successfully. And so I share it every week on the show because it's more important than anything else that you make the right decision in the agent you choose. If you want to know more, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll take a quick break right back here in a second.
The real estate market is constantly changing. Now, here to give us more insight into this is my friend Blake. Not only just run water, I run another.
At least 2. I think we do 2 or 3. Barbara, maybe?
Yeah. They will do Clay, Buck, and Garrett.
Okay.
Our traditional program that's still driven for top dollar. We have an instant offer, a multi-offer, and a program. I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars who are looking to buy homes in the Grand Strand right now.
And what kind of return can you expect from them?
Here's what I'll say. Every seller's needs are different. Some need maximum convenience, and we deliver that every single time. Some need the most amount of money, and we have a program for that as well. We have a trademark program that gets sellers up to 5 to 10% more money than traditional industry methods.
All right, great insight, and thank you for this update. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD.
or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And consider your home sold.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers at time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, take after a home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our proven marketing plan and sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Radio Show. Market update, all kind of stuff going on right now. And it's very interesting. This week we'll talk about the micro market numbers. That's the hardest part for me to do on radio because there's a lot of different zip codes. I want to get the most feedback from because everybody's like, hey, what's my neighborhood doing? What's happening in my zip code? And as you'll notice, it's very dynamic. It's all over the place. And it's one of those things that when you're making decisions for your largest asset, you want to make sure you have specialized and localized data because you can be more aggressive or you may have to be less aggressive based on what's happening overall. Remember on the show, we talk about two types of numbers. What we call the rear view mirror numbers. That's what closed last month. That's what we'll talk about with the micro market numbers. We talk about what goes pending each 7 days. And so that allows us to keep a real-time pulse. And so, like I said, if you see a big surge in properties going under contract, now we can be more aggressive with our clients. We can push the price a little higher. That's how I put extra $5,000 or $10,000 in your pocket because I'm real-time, a nerd about the data, and we watch it all the time. So one thing we talk about is the windshield data. It's like, hey, look, what happened the last 7 days in terms of contracts that went under contract. And if you remember, anything about 500 plus homes with 200 million in real estate means the market's rocking and rolling. This week, we're down about 25% from usual. And the week before that, and that has to do with one thing, the tropical storm that came through, right? There was about, it seemed like it rained from Saturday or Sunday all the way to Friday. But really, Tuesday, Wednesday, part of Thursday, everyone was kind of staying in. People weren't showing properties. A lot of buyers that we had were coming in town, rescheduled into this week. So, for example, last week's show was like 500 homes for right at 180 million. The week before that was right 500. If you go 3 weeks ago, it's 556 properties for 213 million. Right. Last week, 409 properties for 156 million. So you're talking a $50 million difference there from what it's been averaging, and that's just because a lot of people weren't in town. You're going to see that bounce back, in my opinion, especially as we've seen some rates come back down overall. And so it's just kind of a unique week where people just weren't looking at houses. You'll see that kind of filter back in. We're already seeing that now. This week, but great news. Last week, one property in Pawleys Island, $4 million, single family under contract, 3 properties over $2 million, 17 properties over $1 million, 59 properties over 500,000 under contract. And the inventory has climbed. It's a new record for this show. We talk about single family resale homes that are on the market in Horry County. Right now, it's 1,300 active homes on the dot. They had to double check the number. It's actually 1,300. Last week's show, for example, was 1,294. And so you can see that going, and the week before that was 1,273. So you can see that kind of climbing a little bit. We'll talk about that overall. Anybody that missed last week's show with the macro market, which is all the Grand Strand, we saw a significant jump up 21% from last year, but we were going back in the history. And July of last year saw the biggest decline, where June was a huge month with 663 properties. Then July went at 516 and back up in August, right, 600. And we were thinking there may be a storm that came during June-ish that slowed, just like we had this last week. You'll see a lull in sales for a little bit because buyers weren't in town to buy. But month versus month, we're up pretty good. Last month, 522 single-family home sales, up 21.1% from July of last year. But it is up from June, which June is 482, July 522, which is awesome. One of the key things to watch for there is supply. Supply is at 4.2 months of inventory right now, which is still a seller's market. The seller still has the advantage, which is good. It's been flat really the past 3 months. Anything 6 months or more is a buyer's market. We're creeping up there a little bit, but the good news, price holding pretty steady. Price up 1.1% year over year. Median price right now at $379,000, and average price up 6.2%, which is awesome at $478,000. The interesting piece of data, though, the last 2 months prices have declined. If you look month to month, and so there's 2 ways to look at it: year versus year, which is like July versus July, and there's month to month. And so it is a seasonal market, but you shouldn't see prices bouncing around that much if it's slowly increasing, right? So May average sale price was $520,000. June, $501,000, so it dropped $19,000, right? And then July, 478,000. So almost another $25,000, reduction there. So you're looking at almost $50,000 in decline in the last 2 months in terms of average sale price. So that's something we'll keep watching. Again, it does bounce around. If I do see 3 months in a row of decline, it does kind of show you a little bit of that happening. But really quick, I'm going to jump in, just hit a couple places for the micro market. I'm not getting all of them, but if you want to know your area, always reach out to me. We have an amazing tool that we spend lots of money, almost $3,500 a month for you to have this tool that you can go right on blakesloan.com. You get an instant cash offer, but you can also enter your address of all the properties you own. It gives you your own portal to track the value, the real-time home equity, what's happening with properties that sold around you. It's a free tool we use, right? There's no pressure or anything about it, but you can always go back to it. And let's say you have 3 rental properties, you put all of them on there. It'll tell you all the real-time equity, what's happening, and it uses multiple different data sources. So it uses 3 large companies of data, so you can kind of see, hey, look, here's what the average value is, and it's real time. And it's really cool. You can click around, and it's all customized to you. It's a free service we offer right on blakesloan.com. Put your information in that box right there, and you'll have your own portal. It'll update you. It's really, really cool. So looking at Myrtle Beach, 29572, 29577 zip codes. Sales last month in July down 24.3%. That's significant, right? Last year, 70 sales. This year, 53. The good news is price up 4.7% at 555,000, which is great news overall. Inventory of homes for sale in Myrtle Beach area up 27% year over year, which is interesting, right? On average, right now, it's taking about 112 days to sell a property in Myrtle Beach. So 3 months, right? 3+ months there overall. Year-to-date sales in Myrtle Beach is down 25.7%. Prices up slightly, up 1.1% at 500,000, and that's great news. The average listing in Myrtle Beach right now is getting 97.1% of asking price, which is down from 97.9. Condo market, they actually rebounded last month, which is awesome, at 20.7%. Year to date, though, condos in Myrtle Beach down 20%. Prices up 4.4%. Year to date at 235,000, which is awesome. Inventory has climbed. It's up 73%. So, for example, last July there were 699 condos. Right now, 1,211 condos overall. So we'll kind of look at that and see overall. North Myrtle Beach area, 29582. Sales last month, so big contrast to Myrtle Beach. Sales last month up 9.5%, which is awesome. Prices up 13.4% just last month alone, which is awesome. That's 494,000 last year, 560. 306 this year, which is awesome news there. On average, they're getting about 96% of asking price, and inventory is up 49%. So a lot more competition there, which is why you want to make sure you have a good agent who can differentiate your property. That's the key right now to getting your property sold. Can't compare to everything else out there, just because there's a lot more competition, right? Last year, only 149 houses. This year, 222 houses. So that's interesting enough. Condo market. In North Myrtle Beach, down 8% last month. Condos are down 16.9%, though, year to date in North Myrtle Beach. Median price, though, is actually declined last month for condos, down 10.9%. 303 last year, 270 this year. So you want to watch out for that overall. I had a question from a friend of mine just this week. Said, hey, should I sell my condo and put that money towards single family? That would be my recommendation for her specific situation, because you're seeing softening significantly in the condo market due to multiple reasons, some of which include increased HOAs, increased HOA assessments, insurance obviously increasing. What we also have seen is a lot of insurance companies are going through they have a whole team of appraisers they've hired directly, and they're going and reappraising these large buildings, and they were finding that a lot of them were underinsured due to the massive increase in values the last 4 years. And so what they're doing is making them have much higher policies, which is making them do special assessments, and therefore it's making it unaffordable for a lot of condo owners who are selling it, right? Which is why you're seeing a lot more people put their condos in the market. So if I'm thinking about where I have a condo, I think it's a much more safe investment here from an inventory number standpoint to move that into a single family. And that her situation, that's what she was looking to do. So Loris and Longs, 29568, 29569. Sales up 36% last month. That's awesome news there. That's July versus July. Year to date, sales up 35.4%. Why is that? Well, guess what? It's much more affordable in those areas. So as the Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach, Surfside areas tend to go up in price, people search for affordable options and they go out further. In this situation, they're out further on Highway 9. You're seeing a lot of new developments out there, and that's typically why you're seeing the demographic or the home sales move out that way, which is great news, right? There's a lot of opportunities, a lot of development out there I just did an interview recently with the Wall Street Journal, just talking about how Horry County had so much more new construction than pretty much anywhere in the country. Only one market, Ocala, Florida, had more new construction than we did. And so that's something we'll keep talking about in a future date here. Overall inventory for the overall Little Longs and Loris area, up 21% for inventory. Not many condos there, obviously. Little River area, 29566. Sales up 36%. Same exact reason I just talked about for Loris and Longs. Year-to-date sales up 17.4%. Prices flat, though, year-to-date, down 1.3%. Started out at 389,000. Right now, we're at 384.5. Taking it right now an average of 142 days to sell a property in Little River right now. So it takes a little while, right? It's actually down a little bit from 161, which is good. Inventory is up 11.2% overall. Carolina Forest area, single family homes, sales down last month, down 12%. They're down 10% year to date. Prices, though, last month up 8.9% at 446,000, which is awesome news. Inventory has increased 16.4%. And right now it's taking an average of 117 days to sell a property there in Carolina Forest. You see this crept up from a couple years ago when it was selling about 6 hours, right? Soxy, sales up 14.1% just last month. Year-to-date sales down 10%. Prices, though, last month up 8.5%, which is awesome, 364,000 in inventory. 56% overall. Last couple here, Surfside area, sales up 5.4% last month. Year to date up 9.9. So if you see that, Myrtle Beach in the middle, that always kind of leads the pack in what's happening, down 24%. But North Myrtle Beach and Surfside is up significantly, right? And so you see they'll follow Myrtle Beach usually a few months. You're probably going to see that soften a little bit in the future. If I'm in those markets, I want to probably sell a little bit sooner rather than later, especially when you get to this fall market. We see a different type of buyer. We trained my entire team on this last week. We see different types of families come in. So during the summertime, they're combining their vacation with their search. They usually have children. They don't mind this crowds in the summertime. When we have our fall market, we tend to see a little bit more higher end buyer. They tend to not have kids that are still at home. They like to avoid the crowds, and they tend to come more fall market to purchase, and you see a higher average sale price through that process as well. So that's something to keep watching. Last one here, Polly's in Litchfield. Sales up 40% last month, which is awesome. That's July versus July. Year-to-date sales up 7%. Price is pretty much flat, down 0.6% at 625,000, but lots of new inventory. It's up 43%. The average days on market right now in Litchfield and Polly's is 128 days. You want to get that down, reach out, call us. Call somebody like myself who is a top team, who spends massive amounts of marketing. We just looked back at last month's marketing, and I'll share this in a minute with our hot buyers. We spent $95,000 in marketing just last month, driving buyers from all across the globe. And so that's the main difference between us and everyone else. One thing, too, we'll talk about is interest rates. Some good news here. They did drop down right now, bump back up because some retail data came out just last week that showed it was a little bit stronger than they expected. So therefore, rates jumped up. Right now, it's 6.58% for a 30-year fix. For a 15-year fix, is 6.15% overall. A 30-year FHA loan, 6.12, which is awesome. And a 30-year VA loan is 6.14% overall. And so that's just something we'll keep watching in terms of that. The good news is you're watching what's happening with watch the Fed, right? And the Fed kind of leads interest rates in terms of banks, but what you find is the mortgage market follows that slightly. The good news is right now for the September 18th Fed meeting, we have this site, we track it real time. There's a 100% chance that rates will be eased in the September meeting, which is awesome. And so if you're looking overall, right now it's looking at a 76% chance of 525 basis points, and then looking at a 23%, 475 to 500 basis points. So looking at rates in the Fed, you're looking at about a quarter or a half point reduction in the overall Fed rate to banks, which bleeds down to mortgage rates. So you're probably going to see low sixes. And we think maybe by November, you might see high fives. And so what that means is a lot more buyers are going to jump in. If you're thinking about buying, have your ducks in a row so that you can jump in quick before prices start to go up. If I'm a seller, I want to use that timing to have my property teed up when all these buyers jump back in. We also know historically they tend to lower rates right around the election time to ease some of the pain for people, and now you're going to see that. And so right now it's looking at 100% chance that rates will be cut by the Fed on the September 18th meeting. It means we have right about a month. So if you're thinking about selling, reach out, call me, 843-808 sold or blakesloan.com anytime. We'll be right back here after this quick break.
WRNN listeners, Blake Travis here. As investors in real
How much time you got? I got my stopwatch here. Hold on.
3 minutes at the most. Do you want to run another one or just run this one?
Oh, this one's fine. Yep. Thank you. I get to 29:30, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have probably about
4.
Yeah.
Okay.
This will be 25:30 when we come back to you. Against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 five-star reviews by the Sloan Realty Group. Give them a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Radio Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I are working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking to buy property here in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, please contact us immediately. 843-808-SOLD, 843-808-SOLD. One thing we've been doing for, 8-9 years here is putting my money where my mouth is. And we just show it out there. So look, we're outspending the average agent right now 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. Like I mentioned, last month alone, our marketing budget was $95,000. Most agents don't make that in a year, much less spend that in marketing in one single month. And that's not to brag. That should just show you the reality of how much more exposure and how much more reach we have in terms of getting eyeballs on your property. I can't sell your property based on what it looks like, but I sure as heck can drive a lot of eyeballs to your property and make people want to go look at it. And that's how we sell properties faster for more money. So right now, active home buyers that we have on our website, the one I own, with a username, password, account. These are not hits. These are users who are searching the site daily. 77,233 active home buyers. 77,233 active home buyers. If you're thinking about selling, reach out, call us 843-808-SOLD right now. I got Michael from Whitehall, PA. I got Joe Walchuk from Columbus, Ohio. I got, you're seeing Mayodan, North Carolina. Amy from there. I got James from Wake Forest, North Carolina. Dan from Greenville, South Carolina, Shelly and Adam from Burnville, PA. Long story short, we have all over the globe in terms of where you get buyers from: New Hampshire, New York, Virginia, New York City, New York. So obviously we target the Northeast, but if you're thinking about selling, reach out, call me. We have buyers in waiting, meaning that we're able to match up our buyers with your listing the day it starts, not put a sign on the ground and hope someone comes down the road 128 days later, like we heard about a minute ago for the average days on market. So if you want to know more how that works, reach out, call us. If you have a friend or relative, somebody you know, work with, or thinking about selling, do me a favor. So you got to call my buddy Blake. Give them my number, 843-808-SOLD. Really quick, awesome success story. Big shout out to Paul and Susan. They had a beautiful property with 8 acres in Loris. They had their home for sale for a year with a different realtor. Guess what? Didn't get one single offer. They're frustrated and that they did not get any traffic they want, that they thought their home deserved. Meanwhile, Paul heard about us from the radio, which is awesome. Gave us a call. We came in with Paul and Susan, showed them their problem, which was lack of marketing, especially for a property of 8 acres. I designed a custom plan, launched our Gold Marketing Blitz, professional photos, drove massive traffic within 1 week. They had a fantastic offer on their property right near asking price. And now Paul and Susan are able to move on to be closer to the beach. Also, Larry owned a rental property in Conway. We see this one a lot. And after the tenants moved out, he found they absolutely destroyed the home. Larry did not want to spend the time or money to fix it up. So he started looking for investors who could purchase it. He didn't want to use a realtor. But after he spoke with those investors, guess what? He found they were paying pennies on the dollar, and he would have had to bring money to the closing table to actually close. So we actually sold it. We sold it in 1 week, full asking price, cash as is. If you want to be that, call us 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll see you back here next week. So I'm showing that start at 28.39. Is that right? So I want to make sure that I'm on the same page.
I'm at 29 minutes completely.
Okay, maybe that's that last part.
So what I did is you have the bed ends at 60 seconds. So at 28:30, I hit the bed.
Got it. Okay.
You could have carried it out if you wanted to.
Got it. Okay. I also make sure.
Yeah, so in the future, when I hit it at 28:30, you got 60 seconds. You know whatever you got to do.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Okay, I appreciate it. We'll get it, man. I'm liking it. It's doing pretty good. I like the new things you did, so I appreciate that.
Well, I want to try to
Yeah, 100%.
It makes it sound more exciting.
I agree.